If you are over 60, I want you to pause for a moment and truly listen. What I'm about to share is not meant to frighten you. It's meant to empower you. Over the years, I've watched many men quietly struggle with prostate symptoms they assumed were simply part of getting older. Frequent trips to the bathroom, difficulty starting the urine stream, waking up 2, 3, even 4 times a night, that subtle pressure, that hesitation, that frustration. But here's what experience has taught me. Age alone is rarely the full story. What you do every single day plays a powerful role in how your prostate behaves. I've seen men in their late 60s, 70s, even 80s maintain strong urinary flow and comfort simply because they adjusted a few daily habits. And I've seen others ignore the warning signs until the discomfort became impossible to overlook. The difference was rarely luck. It was lifestyle. Let's begin with something that seems harmless: not drinking enough water. Many older men intentionally reduce fluids because they're tired of nighttime bathroom trips. It feels logical: drink less, urinate less, but the body doesn't work that way. When you become chronically dehydrated, your urine becomes more concentrated. That concentrated urine irritates the bladder lining. And because the prostate sits just beneath the bladder, any irritation above it creates pressure below it. Over time, dehydration promotes inflammation. And inflammation is one of the silent drivers of prostate enlargement. Add to that the fact that many common medications in older adults increase fluid loss, and you have a recipe for chronic irritation. A dehydrated body also struggles to flush toxins efficiently, which further burdens the urinary tract. The solution isn't dramatic. It's steady hydration, small amounts of water throughout the day, not chugging at night, but consistently sipping earlier in the day. A simple guideline: aim for urine that is pale yellow or nearly clear. Hydration keeps the bladder calmer, reduces unnecessary pressure, and gives the prostate a more stable environment. Now let's talk about something even more common: sitting. Comfort is important. Rest is necessary. But prolonged sitting, especially without breaks, compresses the pelvic region. When you remain seated for hours watching television, reading, or working at a desk, blood circulation to the lower body slows. Reduced circulation means reduced oxygen delivery and nutrient exchange. Over time, that stagnation encourages inflammation in pelvic tissues, including the prostate. There's another issue many men overlook. The pelvic floor muscles weaken when they are rarely engaged. A weaker pelvic floor makes it harder to empty the bladder completely. Residual urine remains behind, irritating the bladder and indirectly stressing the prostate. The fix is surprisingly simple. Stand up every 30 minutes, walk for 1 or 2 minutes, stretch gently, even pacing around the house counts. Movement restores blood flow, reduces pelvic pressure, and supports muscular strength where it matters most. Next, we need to address caffeine. That morning coffee may feel harmless, and in moderation, it usually is. But multiple cups throughout the day can quietly aggravate urinary symptoms. Caffeine acts as a diuretic, increasing urine production and stimulating the bladder. It also encourages bladder muscle contractions, leading to urgency and frequency. For someone whose prostate is already sensitive or enlarged, this extra stimulation becomes problematic. Caffeine can tighten the bladder neck, making it more difficult to empty fully. Incomplete emptying means more residual urine and more irritation. This doesn't mean you must eliminate coffee forever. It means practicing moderation. 1 small cup in the morning may be fine. After that, consider decaffeinated options or herbal teas. Many men notice a significant reduction in nighttime urination simply by limiting caffeine after midday. Finally, let's talk about what's on your plate. Flavorful food is one of life's pleasures, but frequent consumption of spicy and heavily processed meals can create internal inflammation that affects more than just your stomach. Spicy ingredients in excess can irritate sensitive tissues. Meanwhile, processed foods, loaded with preservatives, excessive sodium, artificial additives, and unhealthy fats, gradually disrupt metabolic and hormonal balance. High sodium intake contributes to fluid retention, which strains the urinary system. Processed meats and packaged meals may also influence testosterone balance over time. And because the prostate is hormonally responsive tissue, that imbalance matters. A dietary pattern built around packaged convenience foods slowly increases inflammation, promotes weight gain, and alters hormone regulation, all of which are associated with prostate enlargement. The alternative is not deprivation, it's protection. Fresh vegetables, leafy greens, berries rich in antioxidants, healthy fats like olive oil and nuts. These choices reduce inflammatory load and support hormonal stability. A protective diet doesn't have to be bland, it simply needs to be intentional. Here's the bigger message. Prostate health is rarely determined by one dramatic event. It's shaped quietly by daily repetition. Small habits, subtle choices, consistent patterns. You are not powerless. You are not simply aging into decline. With steady hydration, regular movement, balanced caffeine intake, and a cleaner diet, you give your body the conditions it needs to maintain comfort and function. And if you found this helpful, share it with another man who might be silently dealing with these symptoms. Sometimes the most life-changing conversations begin with the simplest awareness. As we continue this conversation about the everyday habits that quietly influence your prostate, I want you to notice something important. None of these behaviors seem dramatic. They feel ordinary, harmless, routine. And yet, over time, repetition is what shapes health, for better or worse. One of the most underestimated habits is something nearly every man has done countless times: holding in urine. Life gets busy, you're driving, you're watching a program, you're in the middle of a task and think, I'll go later. But when you repeatedly delay urination, the bladder stretches beyond what it comfortably should. That stretching increases internal pressure, and because the prostate sits directly beneath the bladder, it absorbs much of that mechanical stress. In younger years, the body compensates more easily. After 60, the muscles that coordinate bladder emptying and prostate relaxation are not as resilient. Holding urine too long can contribute to incomplete emptying later. Residual urine remains in the bladder, creating an environment where bacteria thrive. Infections develop more easily. Inflammation follows, and inflammation over time encourages prostate swelling. It's a simple correction. Respond to the first signal. Don't wait for urgency. Especially in the evening, regular emptying before bed may reduce nighttime disturbances. Think of the bladder and prostate as partners. When one is strained, the other suffers. Now, let's address a habit that carries far greater consequences: exposure to cigarette smoke. Whether you smoke yourself or spend time around others who do, tobacco exposure significantly impacts prostate health. The chemicals in smoke constrict blood vessels, limiting circulation to delicate tissues. Poor circulation means less oxygen, fewer nutrients, and slower healing. Smoking also increases oxidative stress, a process that damages cells and overwhelms the body's repair mechanisms. Over time, this contributes to chronic inflammation and has been associated with enlargement and more serious prostate conditions. For older adults, the cumulative effect is stronger. Decades of exposure compound the damage. The encouraging news? The body begins repairing itself quickly once exposure stops. Circulation improves within weeks. Inflammatory markers decrease. Tissue recovery becomes more efficient. If you smoke, speak with your physician about structured cessation strategies. If you don't, protect yourself from secondhand exposure whenever possible. Avoiding smoke is not just about lungs or heart health, it directly supports prostate resilience. Another habit that silently undermines prostate health is avoiding medical screenings. Many men adopt a no news is good news approach. If there's no pain, there's no problem. But prostate enlargement and early abnormalities often develop without dramatic symptoms. Waiting until discomfort becomes severe limits your options. Routine evaluations, including physical examination and PSA testing, are straightforward and often brief. They provide a baseline. They identify inflammation early. They catch changes before complications arise. Conversations about urinary frequency or weak stream may feel uncomfortable, but avoiding the topic delays prevention. Early detection often means simple lifestyle adjustments rather than aggressive treatments. Annual discussions with your healthcare provider are not a sign of weakness, they are a sign of wisdom. Many men find it helpful to track patterns at home as well. Monitoring fluid intake, bathroom frequency, nighttime awakenings, and subtle symptom changes gives your doctor better insight. When consistent data is available, decision-making becomes more precise and personalized. Finally, let's talk about red meat. There's nothing inherently wrong with enjoying a steak occasionally. The concern arises when red and processed meats become daily staples. High intake of processed meats, such as sausages, bacon, and deli cuts, has been linked to systemic inflammation. Saturated fats and processing chemicals can disrupt hormonal balance and elevate oxidative stress, both of which influence prostate tissue. As metabolism slows with age, digestion becomes less efficient. Heavy meals rich in red meat take longer to process. This can contribute to weight gain and increased abdominal pressure, which indirectly affects pelvic circulation and prostate function. The goal is not elimination, it's moderation. Reducing consumption to once or twice per week while incorporating more fish, legumes, poultry, and fiber-rich plant meals can lower inflammatory burden. Lentils, beans, leafy vegetables, and vegetable-based soups support both digestion and hormonal stability. Small dietary shifts compound over months and years. Many men notice improvements in urinary comfort, energy levels, and overall well-being simply by diversifying protein sources. Here is what I hope you understand. Prostate health is rarely damaged by one extreme action. It is influenced by daily patterns. When you go to the bathroom, whether you move, what you inhale, how you eat, and whether you seek preventive care. None of these changes require perfection. They require awareness. And when awareness turns into consistent action, the prostate often responds with reduced irritation, improved function, and fewer disruptive symptoms. We're not chasing fear. We're building control, one steady habit at a time. As we reach the final part of this discussion, we come to two habits that often sit at the root of everything else. Habits that don't just influence your prostate, but your entire internal balance. Let's begin with excess belly fat. After 60, weight around the midsection is often dismissed as a normal part of aging, but abdominal fat is not just stored energy. It is metabolically active tissue. It produces inflammatory chemicals that circulate through your bloodstream and reach organs far beyond your waistline, including your prostate. This persistent, low-grade inflammation acts like a slow irritation. Over time, it encourages tissue growth and contributes to urinary symptoms. Men with larger waist circumferences are statistically more likely to experience nighttime urination, reduced urinary flow, and even erectile difficulties. The connection is not coincidence, it is biology. Abdominal fat also disrupts hormonal balance. Testosterone levels may decline while estrogen levels shift, and because the prostate is hormonally sensitive, these changes matter. Hormonal imbalance can signal the prostate to grow. There is also a simple mechanical factor. Extra abdominal weight increases pressure inside the pelvic cavity. That pressure affects the bladder and the prostate directly, worsening urgency and frequency. The solution is not crash dieting or punishing exercise routines. It is steady correction, a daily walk, slightly smaller portions, reducing added sugars, choosing whole foods more often, even modest weight loss, 5 to 10 pounds, can significantly improve urinary comfort. A helpful benchmark for many men is maintaining a waist circumference under 40 inches. But more important than a number is the trend. If the waistline is slowly shrinking, inflammation is often decreasing alongside it. Now we arrive at what may be the most powerful and most ignored factor of all, chronic stress. Stress does not only live in the mind, it lives in the bloodstream. When you experience ongoing tension, whether from finances, family concerns, health worries, or loneliness, your body releases stress hormones such as cortisol. In small doses, these hormones are protective, but when elevated chronically, they become inflammatory. Chronic stress tightens muscles throughout the body, including the pelvic floor. That tension can restrict blood flow and irritate the nerves surrounding the prostate. Reduced circulation impairs healing. At the same time, prolonged cortisol elevation weakens immune defenses, making it harder for the body to calm inflammation or fight minor infections before they escalate. Many older men carry their stress quietly. They rarely speak about it. They internalize it. But the prostate feels what the mind tries to hide. The encouraging truth is that stress management does not require perfection. 10 minutes of deep breathing, gentle stretching, a short walk outdoors, consistent sleep, laughter with friends, social connection. These are not luxuries. They are therapeutic interventions. Lowering stress reduces inflammatory signaling, relaxes pelvic tension, improves circulation, and supports hormonal balance. In many cases, men notice fewer urinary symptoms simply by calming their nervous system. Now step back and consider the full picture. Hydration, movement, not delaying urination, avoiding smoke, limiting processed foods and excess red meat, maintaining a healthy waistline, managing stress, staying proactive with medical checkups. None of these habits are extreme, but together they form a powerful protective shield. If you are over 60, the most important question is not whether your prostate has already changed. The question is what you will do starting today. Change does not happen overnight. The prostate does not shrink in a week, but the body responds remarkably well to consistency. Begin with one adjustment. Drink more water earlier in the day. Take a 10-minute walk after dinner. Replace one processed meal with something fresh. Practice breathing before bed. Small corrections compound, and if you find it helpful, use simple tracking methods to stay consistent, whether that's journaling your habits, noting symptoms, or using tools that remind you to follow through. Awareness builds control. You are not too old to improve. You are not destined for worsening symptoms. With informed choices and steady habits, your body can move toward greater comfort and stability. If this message resonated with you, share it with another man who may be quietly dealing with the same concerns. Prostate health is not just a private issue, it's a shared conversation. Take care of your body, support it daily, and it will support you in return.